Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to Toshio Thunder. Welcome back to War Thunder. It's been, I'm not even going to say it. It's been an interesting day today. I cooked 2 turkeys. I have Brooklyn not falling on the asleep on the couch across the room from me. It's after midnight, which is pretty darn late for me. And we're taking a look at the Matilda Hedgehog, the first premium vehicle reward for purchasers of the Battle Pass, now available in War Thunder. And I gotta say, there's an incredible amount of value available for those who play the Battle Pass free or who pay for the pass. And as you can tell, day 1 of the Battle Pass, and I have the Matilda Hedgehog. It means that I paid another 500 Golden Eagles to skip the first 15 levels, which is more or less 10 to 12 days worth of grinding. So that's pretty worth if you're looking at 500 GE. Another thing I'd like you to look at is that I have launched all of my hedgehogs. They're not incredibly useful. The launcher, while apparently it does adjust by about 15 degrees in the vertical, it sits at a 30-degree incline, so you end up launching the mortars, I guess would be the better term for them. Mines? Depth charges? You end up launching about 250 meters or yards, whatever stick you're using. It's close enough for these things. The ability to target specific vehicles with them is extremely limited, but wait, there are more limitations. It does not traverse in the horizontal at all. It's locked to your hull, so you can't, you've got to aim with the whole tank, and the Matilda is not the most agile of tanks. So what is the payoff for having these rockets on the back? An extra weak spot on the tank, of course, an opportunity to get hull broken when someone destroys the launcher with a high explosive, and I even got killed by a shrapnel shell today. By a KV, no, not a KV, the T-28 Soviet medium tank at fairly long range. He just hit the launcher, and even though all of my rockets were gone, it still hull broke my vehicle. So it's nice to see Gaijin is not learning from the implementation of all the other rocket tanks in the game. We're going to go through the process of getting blown up by every darn thing every now and then. But at the same time, even though the Matilda has really good armor for a medium tank at this tier, it really plays more like a heavy tank, sort of, in that it's super slow, but the gun's not big and doesn't hit super hard, but it fires extremely rapidly. And you can see that here at low tier, when you're able to snipe with it and people just aren't focusing on you, it's reasonably effective, more or less, over the course of time, day by day, if the enemy holds still long enough. And it's actually a really fun vehicle to play, mostly because it gets 20 degrees of gun depression, just like every other Matilda, and it's just sort of a barrel full of laughs. If you can find a nice hold down position to hide your useless rocket launcher, and I have seen people get kills with these things, but I'm not that kind of person. I highly doubt that I'll get any kills with this ever. But the unlockable camo for level 16 of the Battle Pass is really nice looking. It's also something you can sell on the marketplace if you're into that kind of thing, but yeah, I'm not looking to get my money back out of this whole Battle Pass deal. Although, some of the vehicles will be able to be sold on the marketplace after the current season of the Battle Pass is over. Looks like it's going to be about 3 months. So, plenty of time to unlock the, 70 some stages that all the important stuff is in. You can pretty much count on unlocking one stage every day if you're doing your daily tasks. So that gives you lots of off time to relax and recuperate. This is not the kind of thing where you have to stress out about completing everything if you are used to completing 2 daily tasks and a special task at least every other day. But what else? Let's stop talking about the Battle Pass, shall we? It's a little bit complicated and it's not implemented perfectly into the game yet, but it's definitely a step in the direction of giving more value to players and more options for just finding goals to have in the game. So it really is excuse me, still got a bit of a cough. By the way, I and my wife both tested negative for COVID-19, so we have a cold, and it's not fun, but apparently it's not coronavirus, so that's great. Now, moving into a match that I had a day or two ago, and I've been playing a decent amount of War Thunder over the past few days, just because my wife's been home, because, well, we needed to be tested for COVID. We came into contact with people that had it, and I was pretty sure that I had it, but no, it's just a different kind of bad cold, and maybe it's worse for me. You can see I have sort of a wheezing cough going on. Maybe that's just a remnant of from when I got COVID the first time. I don't know, or I should say when I got COVID earlier this year, and I didn't get tested then because I was just staying home anyway, and nobody else got anything, so we got away with it. But this, excuse me, I'm pretty tired. This is the M41 Walker Bulldog, and you might not think that this is one of the best light tanks in the game, and you would be wrong. As with all vehicles, the stock grind is something of a pain in the butt, and yet the fact that it's a light tank really helps that out. You can scout, you can play passively, you can support your teammates, you can use your roof mounted 50 cal to pull off some shenanigans, and you can see it's on a fairly high elevated pintle mount, and that really does come in handy. I've actually gotten a few kills, especially against Italian pasta boy cars, with that thing from behind, complete cover, just having a little pintle sticking up the way it does when it's not too cold outside. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you haven't given the M41 a shot, give it a shot, because if you play it like it's a light tank, it's one of the best light tanks in the game. And that is a playstyle that takes some learning, but it ends up being one of the most reliable playstyles. And really our only goal was to capture this zone. And because the APDS on the M41 has such a good velocity and armor penetration qualities, you can play this as a very aggressive light tank as well. And again, once you get dug into a good hold down position, I want to tell you something. This teammate here, he was a great guy. He was the greatest of guys. And over the course of the last few days, I've encountered some really great random squad mates. So hats off to you guys. I think one or two of you have actually come check out the channel. I made it a point to invite a lot of you guys, and I've just been really feeling the camaraderie lately in War Thunder. I love to see positivity in the game. I love to be positivity in the game. And this is going to be one of those matches where it just gives me a nice warm fuzzy feeling. I'm going to get in the J6K1, which is an event premium from back in the day, and it is one of the most ridiculously beefy fighters, prop fighters in the game, I should say. It just keeps climbing, and it doesn't have the best sustained climb, but when you're turning and maneuvering, it feels like you get to about 250 miles per hour and you just don't drop below that amount, and you turn like an A7M1. It's pretty insane. And oh, did I mention it's got 650 cals and 2 heavy machine guns in the wings. That's a pretty insane amount of firepower to have in any fighter, especially a Japanese one. And unlike other things that you're used to playing, if you're a fan of Japanese fighters, it actually has a decent ammo count for the guns. I know, what more could you ask for? It really is one of the strongest props in the game, and it actually has an ability to perform some close air support strikes against light targets, especially from extreme vertical angles. So enough of hinting at what is to come. Right now, again, this is the light tank gameplay, and we're enjoying some thick boosh over here. You can see we've got our pay-to-win foliage glued onto the vehicle. I really don't think that camouflage bushes ever should have been added to the game. They were introduced on a April Fool's of all things, and I was like, this has got to be one of the April Fool's jokes, but there were jokes that year. Bushes were not a joke, and you know what? I'm still not laughing. But anyway, on my light tanks, you know, I like to bush up, as it were, and you can see I didn't jump on the bandwagon early enough to get the 4 bush packs that are officially too OP to be offered in War Thunder anymore, them limiting you to 1 camouflage of each type now. So my tactical awareness is, as I've mentioned before, one of my Achilles heels in War Thunder, but I try to listen, and anytime I hear a cannon shot, then I'll check my surroundings, check the minimap, and try to figure out where that's coming from. There's some artillery fire coming in, so try and locate that, and I just try and set up myself in a situation where, even though I have garbage tactical awareness, at least I can respond to some helpful reminders. And that was a nice shot into, what was that, an M40 something? Or maybe it was a T25. I think it was a T25. Anyway, that is a T44, and he can easily deal with us. I mean, anybody can deal with us easily if they can hit us, but what we're doing is we're waiting for him to start moving. He has absolute garbage gun handling on the move, so we can safely and securely push up real quick, take our shot, and then get out of dodge. And one of the tricks to, I mean, I have no idea how we bounced that shot or absorbed it or whatever, but anyway, we weren't long to live. As it was, not the best of starts, but still definitely plenty SP to get into our J6K1. And again, this is a very nice prop aircraft. I would love to see more avenues for old event vehicles to be made available to people. I'm a collector. I have tons and tons of event vehicles. The list is pretty long. There's a few that I don't have, and you know what? I'd like to have those, but more, I kind of feel like a jerk telling you how much I love these event premiums that are just not available to so many people. And I don't see exclusivity as something to be sought after in War Thunder. I really think that it would be better if every new player had access to every vehicle in the game by one means or another within a reasonable amount of time. Let's say a year or two. You know, you could look forward to an event and there would be a schedule for, okay, basically over the next 2 months, 1/5 of all of the event vehicles in the game are going to be available. It could be something you put on the battle pass, honestly. I wouldn't I wouldn't mind seeing event vehicles go on the battle pass. I'm talking about old event vehicles, and again, I know that would devalue, it would reduce the value of certain vehicles on the marketplace, but in the end, that's good for Gaijin, because vehicles that are not being sold don't make them any money, and it's good for most of the player base. The only person that it's not good for is the guy who gouges people on the price of those rare vehicles. And I understand that eventually you will always get to the point where there's only a handful of those vehicles left and the price is absolutely ridiculous, and I don't blame people for charging a price that high if that's what some person eventually is willing to pay, with an understanding that they're not going to get $400 worth of enjoyment out of that. They're just, kind of flexing their affluence. There are people for whom $400 is nothing, but I'm not that guy. Also, doesn't the I don't know what to call it, sort of the prop cover, I guess, doesn't it kind of look like a big eraser, like an overly large eraser? Who's good at math? The guy who still has an eraser left on his pencil. That's not actually true, by the way. It seems like the people that are actually good at math end up wearing out that eraser fairly fast, because everybody needs to backtrack every now and then. And speaking of, this airplane does take me back to my days of making custom camos. I made one fairly recently, but it was pretty low effort and it was really simple, but I liked the way it turned out. Can't remember right now what airplane it came from, but I think I also have a BF-109E1 video to share with you guys. I'm not quite sure if I ended up making that one or not. I've had some technical difficulties. For some reason, I'm not really sharing the action with you guys, but you can see what's going on. This thing is just deleting enemy aircraft, and I think we'll pick up a couple of ground kills here as well. It's pretty ridiculous what we end up accomplishing with this thing, but pretty ridiculous in terms of a Japanese aircraft. Remember, typically Japan's close air support game is extremely weak, and one of the reasons that this airplane stands out in so many ways is because this particular aircraft in this particular configuration probably never existed. So, at least if I listen to what the European Canadian has to say about things, I'll take his word for it. I just want to play the game. It seems like a lot of these vehicles, they were not at least thoroughly tested and don't have a ton of performance information available, especially if they weren't tested by some third party after the war. They tend to just perform better than everything else at their tier, and almost like their performance stats are based on speculation, which is always a little bit rosier when you're the one trying to sell the darn thing, or hoping it'll win a war for you. But the cold, harsh grasp of reality is preferable for those who want to profit in real life, but this is War Thunder, and this is a game, and we're gonna have a good time. Now, I'm not quite sure if that enemy fighter noticed us, but you can see I'm pulling some negative elevator as we loop over to get on this guy's tail. It does not, it's an IL-2, it does not benefit you. There's nothing he can do against us. Usually an IL-2 can outturn just about anybody, but he bled almost all of his energy in that climb. I'm not sure if he was trying to get guns on target or what. I think he was, but I think he misjudged our altitude and our energy state, and he was hoping for a head-on, and we just didn't come directly down on top of him the way he was expecting us to. So IL-2 bleeds out energy very fast in the vertical, but it's usually able to outturn just about anything, but we're a Japanese fighter, so he's got nothing on us. The only thing he can do is try and open up at long range, but, again, IL-2's used to having the maneuvering advantage, so there's generally no reason to do that unless you're very confident with the guns. And by the way, if you want to do better in any of your aircraft, I highly recommend getting very good with the guns. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to spend trigger time. And the best way to spend trigger time is to play a custom battle or an advanced test flight and just shoot a bunch of stuff. So that mission went fairly quickly and fairly poorly for our team, but very well for us. You can see some nice results, and this is the result of having a premium account and playing premium vehicles, even though we did start in the M41 Walker Bull Doge. And just a little bit extra to pile on top there. That's nice. Anyway, this was kind of a rambling one, and again, it's pretty late tonight, but I just wanted to share that with you all. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.